we, the people of the United States, to form a more perfect union, secure the blessings of liberty, reestablish the meaning of the Constitution.
Hello, friends, and welcome to We the People Show. This is your host, Tiger, and hello, Bradley. Welcome back, bro.
Thanks. Good to be back.
Happy New Year for the first bonus content video of 2021, and we will talk about right away. It's the Senate runoff. Bradley, what are your thoughts? Not necessarily predictions, but what's gonna be the outcome?
Well, no matter the outcome, I think everyone can agree here that this election is going to be very consequential in terms of who controls the Senate. And it seems that the battle of the Senate unexpectedly dragged on to January 5th, when we thought it was going to be decided on almost 2 months ago, exactly 2 months ago. But that turned out not to be the case. I think people who live in Georgia should go out and vote for whoever candidate will think best represent them, and whatever party they'd rather have control of the Senate.
And for today's video, it will be talking about predicting the outcome, not in terms of who wins each race, but in terms of, its effect on the Senate control as a whole. As y'all could see, the 50 seats Republican and 48 for Democrats. Now, moving on to talk about the tweets that each candidate have tweeted out, I will mention John Ossoff, for example, here. He tweeted something like, "What happens if McConnell holds the Senate and there'll be trench warfare or partisanship stuff, obstructionism." Based on the tone of this tweet, he assumed that Biden will become president, and we will also assume that would happen. So, Bradley, do you think it's a bit hypocritical, considering that when the Democrats held the Senate at one point in our history, they obstructed as well to Republican agenda?
Oh, very much so. And I like how John Ossoff is using this, using partisan as a vocabulary term as an attack against a Republican-controlled Senate, when literally, if you had Democrats obstructing President Trump's agenda during his last 4 years, and it looks like if Democrats control the Senate after this Georgia election, you could argue that they're going to pass partisan legislation. They wouldn't need Republican support for most legislation. Yeah. They would have the House. They would have control of the Senate with Vice President Kamala Harris breaking ties, and of course, Democrat President Joe Biden. So you could argue that certainly would be partisan legislation getting through and being signed into law.
Yeah, basically you would see just straight up party politics there.
So honestly, for that, yeah, I would say it just comes down to it depends on which party you align with the most.
Yeah. And as for the other tweet, which is by, what's it called? I think Warnock. Yes, Warnock. And he mentioned here that Georgians who lost their jobs due to the pandemic, blah, 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 because his opponent Loeffler blocked relief. But also still, he should mention the fact that Senator Schumer also blocked relief in a way with filibusters and such, and even Speaker Pelosi. So again, party politics and hypocrisy.
Yeah, and I think someone needs to remind Reverend Warnock that it was Pelosi who was holding up COVID relief up until election time, and after the election was over, then she was finally ready to negotiate. Coincidence? I think not.
Definitely trying to hurt Trump, and she wants Biden elected.
True.
And then you have other tweets on the Republican side. For once, it's Kelly Loeffler, for example. She did a retweet. It's about some, I think, gender naming thing regarding the 117th Congress that started a few days ago. and it's about like ridiculousness of the rules, saying that you can't say father, daughter, or gender language. There we go, mother, son, and she used that as an opportunity to oppose it in terms of her campaign trail. So you could also see that how ridiculous and woke that the Democrats have become. Bradley, would
I'm a little confused about that. Could you kind of explain that? So, like, the House rules are trying to get rid of gendered language. Is that it?
yeah, basically, you answered your own question.
Oh, I see.
And as you can see here, Bradley, this tweet here by Kelly Loeffler, that she also called it ridiculous, as you and I could be both agree on too.
Yeah, it's like we have a pandemic going on right now, and the one major issue that you think is important is gendered language. Like, really?
Yeah, just bruh.
Priorities.
And yeah, it's just political correctness right in front of our eyes, folks. And I think it's been around even before Trump. Trump is, when he was elected in 2016, he exposed it all. And it's been around like in the last few years of the Obama administration, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because you don't see that in Obama's first term. It was Obama's second term in which the divisiveness happened, and that's where we got Trump in 2016.
Right.
But yep, no matter who is president, folks, after the after the fifth and the sixth, a runoff and a contested election in the joint session. Now, we're not allowed to talk much about it because YouTube decided to be assholes about it. So, yep, we're not talking about it. No matter who is president, the culture war is still being fought. It's the progressives against the conservative, the two clashing movements. And you could say, in a way, there's also an emerging third party movement, which is the libertarians. Bradley, would you think so?
So far, I haven't seen much evidence that the Libertarian Party is becoming more strong, because they actually got less votes in 2020 than in 2016. So, to me, that tells me that, especially in the 2020 election, people were more willing to vote for, Trump or Biden instead of a third party because they saw the stakes as being high. Now, with that being said, I think there is a growing libertarian faction in the Republican Party, but the Libertarian Party itself, I think, in my opinion, is just disorganized and frankly a disaster, and they don't know how to properly win elections.
Yeah, I see your point there, because I think there is also like a movement of libertarian voters, but as for party leadership itself, the party establishment itself, it's not very much like organized. There's not a single leader they can look up to.
Yeah, and if you want to blame, if anyone wants to blame anyone or any organization for taking the election from Trump, it would be the Libertarian Party, because assuming if most or all the people who voted for Joe Jurgensen in Georgia, Arizona, and Wisconsin would have gone for Trump, then Trump would have carried those states. But she was a spoiler for Trump in those states. Spoiler vote.
I guess in a way you could argue that she's kind of like the 2020 version of Ross Perot, because he was the third party candidate who took, in a way, votes from George H.W. Bush, and that's how Bill Clinton got elected in the 90s election. I don't remember which one, but
92.
92, yes. I can see some similarities between 92 and 2020.
Yeah, and they would be both similar, considering that it was an incumbent Republican president who lost re-election.
Yeah. And finally, moving on to the last tweet, Senator Perdue stated he's been creating jobs for a long time, and Ossoff never held a real job, blah, blah, blah. And you mentioned this before, Bradley, that He's like simps for the CCP, basically America's adversaries.
Yeah, it is. As I've said before, it is concerning that he accepted money from a Hong Kong media company that is partially funded by the CCP, or completely funded. I'm not sure by how much.
Do you know exactly what is this Al Jazeera group?
Al Jazeera.
Yeah.
So I believe it is a media company based in it was either Qatar or Bahrain. Um, now, however, I think one of the divisions of it is kind of a talking point, just by on the way they report things and their point of view is more sympathetic to radical Islam. And once again, like that's also concerning, considering a good chunk of Ossoff's revenue came from Al Jazari and selling his footage to them.
Yeah, folks. If that kind of person gets elected, we're gonna see some trouble there. Especially like his ties with the CCP would definitely match potentially President Biden's. And assuming the Democrats win both seats, that would be true Democrat control of the Senate.
Democrat control the Senate and no action on the Communist Party of China.
So, yeah, this election is be pretty close in terms of these four people. Am I right?
Very much so.
As for the outcome, its effect on the Senate as a whole, what do you think, Bradley? If I check between blue and red.
Honestly, it's a pure toss-up at this point. Now, from what I saw in terms of the early vote numbers, I believe a total of 3 million Georgian voters voted early already. Now, that was 600,000 votes less than in 2020 early voting numbers. However, it's definitely the highest turnout for a runoff in Georgia history. So, again, it's going to be really hard to tell like who's going to benefit from this election. Now, on the bright and so far, it looks like Democrats took the lead in early voting. However, Republicans are more likely to vote on election day, and so that might save the Republicans in this election.
So, based on like what you said in previous production that We the People Show has produced, you would say the numbers, the turnout, voters turnout will be similar to the presidential one, right?
Well, I wouldn't say similar because I said that 600,000 less votes were counted in early voting for this runoff so far, and well, I mean, like those are the total early voting numbers, 3 million, but and the 2020 presidential election was 3.6 million. So, it's still pretty hard to tell. So far, the betting odds have been in favor of Ossoff and Warnock. But then again, I've kind of said that the polling industry is officially dead after this 2020 election. So I'm not even gonna really consider the polls at this point. And besides, they're really tight and within the margin of error.
Now, this isn't like guarantee that this might happen, but according to what Bradley just said, folks, that we have a Senator Ossoff and a Senator Loeffler still GOP control, and as you said before, Bradley, that will definitely keep a check in favor of our personal political views on President Biden and his CCP simping.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. And Ossoff can complain all he wants if elected.
Yeah, but hopefully it'll be Perdue and Loeffler that pull this through.
If it's the opposite way, what do you say? What happened was Senator Warnock and Senator Perdue? I guess same thing, just opposite way.
Pretty much, and also Ossoff and Perdue and Loeffler pretty much are similar ideology-wise. Although I think so far Loeffler is more right-wing than Perdue. Perdue kind of acts like a regular, establishment Republican. But at the same time, he has been proven to fight for Trump's integrity in the election. And he was in favor of the $2,000 check. Same thing with Loeffler, I believe.
Okay, I figured she also supported the $2,000 stimulus. And
Yeah, same with Josh Hawley, Marco Rubio, and Lindsey Graham of Florida, South Carolina, and Lindsey Graham, South Carolina, Marco Rubio, Florida, and Josh Hawley of Missouri.
okay, so I guess it proves or it disproved that Ossoff and Warnock's talking point, Warnock specifically, that Kelly Loeffler does not support a $2,000 thing and stimulus. It's an outright lie, like definite lie, because she does.
Did he say that? Did he say that before she declared her support?
I think it was before or after. I don't remember, but either way, it's a lie. She supports it.
Yeah, well, if you said it now, then definitely it is a lie.
Yeah, it could have been before. I'm not sure though.
It was before. Either way, he assumed.
I guess if it's before, then I guess he tweet that out in assuming that she doesn't support it, but which is just an unrealistic thing. And he's just playing. I guess he just did it for political purposes on a campaign trail reason to try to gain voters, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, well, I know Ossoff definitely lied when he said that Loeffler campaigned with a Klans member.
Yeah.
So what actually happened was
Jake Tapper called him out for it.
He did.
Yeah, Jake Tapper. If you see a news clip, and he told Ossoff directly in an interview that that's not true. Loeffler doesn't want to associate anything with that guy, and had she known, she would have kicked him out already.
Yeah. What actually happened was she took a picture with a guy who she didn't know at the time was a former KKK member, and then she found out, and like you said, she said she would have kicked him out if she had known it was him, and she condemned white supremacy. What did Ossoff say to Jake Tapper? Just wondering.
Wait, after Jake Tapper proved them wrong?
Yeah, because I haven't seen the clip.
Basically he just keeps saying that Loeffler's racist, this, just
gaslighting.
Yeah, gaslighting. So as for us personally, Bradley, if Warnock and Ossoff wins, it's gonna be a tie, and assuming Kamala has a tiebreaker, it's still CCP puppet. We will be this whole country, unfortunately.
Very much so. And then, like I said, they can get most of their legislation through.
Yeah, but of course, we will work together on domestic things. But foreign policy, we will have little control about.
Well, if Republicans can maintain control of the Senate, Biden won't be able to get as much legislation policy of his through as he wanted to.
And assuming we have the incumbent advantage or whatnot, and you have still a GOP Senate, of course, as we said before, a check on President Biden. But what do you say in terms of like Mitch McConnell? What did he do? Would he remain as part of the swamp as there is?
Do I think he'd remain a Senate Majority Leader?
Well, that's obvious. He would, Mitch McConnell, but I'm talking about him as a senator. Would he be remaining one of the swamp creatures of Washington? That's the term for the establishment.
Oh yeah, in fact, he always has been.
Yeah.
I mean, he may have been supportive of most of Trump's policies, but I very much disagreed with him when he blocked the standalone $2,000 stimulus check bill like that. I didn't like that.
I think I also would oppose his attempt to override a veto, I believe. Did that happen?
Yeah, I believe he overrid the veto of the military budget that Trump vetoed.
Damn, that sucks. Which is only, I believe, assuming it's the same bill we're talking about, which is like provided only 600 for us people, like American.
Well, no, that was a different bill. The other one was the spending that was just like the annual budget with COVID relief. The bill that he overrode was for the national defense, I believe, and it also still maintains Section 230. Well, actually, I don't even think Section 230 was in the bill, but Trump wanted that repealed, but he didn't get that. And what was in it too was the renaming of any military bases named after Confederate leaders.
Now, boy, folks, this Senate race is going to be pretty close. And one more thing, Bradley, what do you think about these calls to postpone the runoff?
Who's calling to postpone the runoff?
I think it's Peter Navarro, if I'm saying the name correctly. Like, I think it's National Intelligence Advisor. Well, I don't remember, but there were calls to what's it called? Postpone it.
Oh, honestly, like I'm just ready to like get this race over with. These pair of Georgia Senate races, and I want to see the results on election night. Hopefully, it won't drag on like it did for the election day, like where we didn't find out who the winner of Georgia was until like what 2 weeks, I think. Like hopefully whoever like wins them will be by the margin that will be big enough to determine that who the winner is on election night.
As much as I fight for election integrity, I would oppose postponing the runoff because it's just you're just buying more time for them to try to, alter the results. And sure, we are all angry at what happened in the presidential one, but still, that's just equally stupid as to, boycott it and not vote in the runoff.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it is a good thing that President Trump is coming down to Georgia on January 4th in what was the name of that one city? It's in northern Georgia.
Yeah. Either way, the important point is it's in Georgia, obviously.
Right. And he's campaigning in an area where like he has a lot of supporters in that part of Georgia, and he could and again, not too far from Atlanta either, so maybe he could draw in like some people there, maybe get them excited to vote if they felt discouraged earlier. He could be there to assure his supporters that it would not be wise for them to stay home in this election, and it'd be better off if they express their anger by just voting for Perdue and Loeffler to maintain control of the Senate.
And there's a lot of people who are talking about it, and including this guy called Linwood. And I honestly don't take his tweets at face value for everything, but still, just keep voting in the runoff, regardless of whoever would tell you to do what.
Yeah, Linwood is either an idiot or he's actually a liberal spy, considering that he actually donated to Stacey Abrams in 2018.
Just vote. I mean, don't listen to one person, because we're not one of the wokesters, the ones who praise one guy. Like, for example, these people saying follow the science and Dr. Fauci and such like. And you also heard, right, Rally, that the mayor of Washington, D.C. made Christmas Eve Dr. Fauci Day, which is just ridiculous.
Oh, yeah. It almost sounds kind of cultish to me.
They're leftists, man. It's just worshiping one thing.
Yeah. I vote for Donald Trump, but I'm not going to worship him.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm more Trumpian than Bradley, folks, but I don't simp him for forever. He will get out of office, but whether it's in 2 weeks or in 4 years. Either way, once Trump is officially done with the presidency, I'm not simping for him. I'm simping for the next guy. It's a temporal thing. It's not like permanent, unlike the leftists who does it permanently.
Yeah, and like for people on the left who criticize Republicans for really loving Donald Trump and maybe even going as far as like farther than like you would go. Have you not seen like the way people support Bernie Sanders? It's basically the same thing like Trump, but for Democrats.
Yeah,
Because both of them are populists, Donald Trump and Bernie Sanders, and they both have really loyal, strong bases who love those candidates, love those politicians.
especially with our oxymoron friend, folks. I have him on the show before in the socialism episode, Mr. Navarres. If you're watching, yeah, you know who he is. And he, of course, in our personal chat, he just denies it and insults us. Whatever. We're a group of friends who, joke around with each other. It's good.
Yeah.
Now, Bradley, after this is all done, this joint session thing and runoff, what would you say will be the future of the Republic then, assuming if there's going to be a Biden administration? I kind of have to say it because YouTube guidelines. What would you say?
Well, I think with Trump out of office, like it's not going to. Trump supporters are not going anywhere. Like they're still going to follow him. They're still going to listen to what he says, and I think you're going to start seeing more Trump-like candidates get elected. Maybe you'll have a lot of incumbent Republicans be primaried in 2022 to follow more for candidates that are more populist. And that could work in certain districts, and then maybe in certain districts you'll keep more establishment Republicans or centrist Republicans in areas where they're more electable.
Yeah, I see your point there. I didn't think about the populist point, but I do agree with the point, in fact, that there will be, the culture war would still be ongoing, except that Trump has expanded the momentum of the conservative movement, if you would say so too, Bradley.
Yeah.
And just as a closing thought, Bradley, what would you say this runoff would impact in terms of like not just Senate control or agenda passing wise, but just like the state of that chamber in general? Like considering.
Oh, what do you mean exactly?
Like, forget like who's in all these 100 seats. Like, what would you say this runoff would impact in terms of like in terms of the like Washington, the Washington swamp, would it be still be going, or would it be changed? Like as you said, there might be more populist in the future. Like essentially, this runoff could be setting a precedent for future Senate elections.
Honestly, it'll be hard to say. Well, under a Biden presidency, it's the real question is, will a lot of these Republicans who supported Trump's policies, will they still be at that same end of the political spectrum as they were under Trump, or are they going to go back to being more establishment? And that's going to be really hard to tell. But I do know for sure the 2022 midterms are going to be very interesting to see. And with the Biden presidency, it's going to be more beneficial to Republicans with the potential red wave in 2022 because the opposite president's party tends to gain seats, as we emphasized many times before. And what I'm going to be really looking at the most is to see if if we're going to have more candidates who are either populist, or if we're going to have more candidates, like more Republican candidates who are more populist, or Republican candidates who are establishment. So that's what we're going to be looking at.
Yep, and there's also, like we said before, there's also already a party infighting between the two. Like Democrats infighting will be between establishment Dems versus the progressive Dems, like AOC and Cory Bush or whatever those people, the leftists.
Bernie Sanders, yeah.
And then you have Republican side, the populists versus, as you said, the establishment GOPers.
Right.
So it's just infightings everywhere, folks. We're now divided more than just Democrats versus Republicans. There are also like divides between the two parties too. So you're like going down basically a maze, a puzzle, a pattern. So Bradley,
Pretty much.
Hey Bradley, it's good to talk with you again. And if you're in Georgia, vote, turn out. I don't care if there's a pandemic, go in person, because think about it, if y'all can peacefully organize in public, like protest basically, then it doesn't make sense to vote by mail because you can already go in person. So vote in person if you could already protest in person.
Yeah. Anyone who lives in Georgia listening right now, vote. Please vote on election day on January 5th. I believe the polls will be open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern time zone. And please make sure to vote for. We'll vote for whoever candidate supports your values. But in my opinion, I think the best candidates to get the best policies through would be David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler, and they will keep a check on President Joe Biden.
Yes, so that's a great shameless self-promotion there, Bradley, or free advertising. Nice.
Well, I actually donated $25 to both David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler just to be safe. I'm trying to phone bank, but like none of their campaigns are reaching out. So, at least I tried to do something.
There we go, folks. Not only just vote, but also try to, actively campaign, as y'all should have been like weeks ago, since like November. And as for the state of our show, thank you all for watching our runoff thoughts. It's tomorrow. It's getting close. So vote, vote, vote. And we will be pushing out new content for We the People Show on this YouTube channel about, as far as I know, it's about 2 videos. One is about the Democratic primary 2024 and the Republican primary 2024. I know I did a video already about it, but I kind of want to expand on it. Like, for example, the Dems primary only or the GOP, etc. And Bradley, I hope you could join me to talk about those videos.
Yeah, certainly.
And as for other content, everyone, on audio, we will be publishing a Sunday special about the culture war, in which I will have my a guest speaker named Matthew Smith. I work with him really well on the activities of Turning Point USA, and I can't wait to get him on to get his thoughts on the culture war. I was gonna have Isabel Brown. She actually works for Turning Point, but I guess she's just busy. She's busy, so I will have Matthew on instead. So, yeah, that's all we have. And again, vote, vote, vote.